Hello and welcome to how I play my level 70 wizard. So here, let's just jump into it. So I'm playing him slightly different than before. There is a little bit more nuance now to the nukes. So if you haven't watched the 50, 55, 60, 65, and now 70 videos before this, I leave out stuff each video, right? Like I stopped talking about extended target, I stopped doing that, and I just focus on the class. So if you don't watch those videos, you might miss out on some little details there. But we got nukes. We got 3 nukes. Now we have a lot of nukes at this level. There are in a huge amount, and I'm going for the fastest casting ones that I could find. They do moderate amount of damage. Now, these are the 3, Spark of Ice, Chaos Flame, and Spark of Lightning. Now, there is a Spark of Fire, and let's pull that one up too real quick, and you can kind of see. Now, I believe the way these were made, so this is a level 66 one, right? So it's from Omen's War, but then Chaos Flame comes from a later expansion. So you can see that the spark spells are all about the same damage, and they're all the same mana. So they're all the same ratio, same casting speed, and stuff like that. Now, Chaos Flame, on the other hand, is from the Prophecy of Ro expansion versus the Omens of War. So you get a little bit more out of this one, right? This is a random kind of spell, so 1,000 to 2,000 damage versus a static 1348 damage. So it's just really up to you what you want to cast. I'm casting Chaos Flame because it's the highest damage, lowest cast time spell I have at the moment. But there is some nuance to that. We're going to kind of jump into AAs real quick. Now, at some point, I think it was either 65 or now at 70, we picked up trifurcating magic. I probably damaged that one out pretty there. We might have got this even earlier than that. I hadn't noticed it until now. Now, when we cast a fire spell, a cold spell, or a magic spell, we will get one of these in addition to the normal spell damage. So if we cast a fire spell, we get an extra 500 damage, reduces their target's hatred for me by 500 points, and then 2% of their hatred for me, right? So that's a concussion in a nuke, right? That's pretty nice. Okay, let's see what we get with ice spells. So it deals 1,700 damage, prevents the bearer from casting Gate, and reduces their resistance by 50. Ooh, that is nice. That is very nice. Okay. And then Acromancy. So the next increases the spell done by your next 5 level 60 or higher spells by 680 damage. That is insane. So fire does the least amount of damage, but it is the most defensive because it is protecting us by lowering our hatred. Ice seems to be the most offensive because it is, adding 1,700 damage to every single nuke while reducing the resistance. So that's pretty nice. But this one here is kind of interesting, right? Like the next 5 get 30-second duration. Next 5 level 60 higher spells get an extra 680. Now, if we take a look at something here, right? Now, I'm casting the fastest spells we have. What if we cast the biggest spell we have, right? Ether Flame. 5,800 damage, 8-second cast, 1,000 mana. Right, this is an insane spell. You add some damage to that, so there's some nuance here that you can get if you weren't boxing. Now, ideally you would do like a Spark of Lightning and then follow it up with some Ether Flames, or there's another spell here called Mana Weave. It's a magic spell right here. Now you could probably use that to trigger the buff and stuff like that instead of Spark of Lightning. You can see here, this one does 3200 damage, but sometimes greatly increases the damage of your next spell. So you would want to do like Mana Weave until you get the proc, and then Chaos, or was it Ether Flame? So yeah, like it just depends on how you want to do it and stuff like that. Now, since I'm boxing in a multi-bind situation where I can only really cast spells without having any idea what I cast before that and just blindly doing it, I'm going to go with Chaos Flames. That's the best I can do, but there is options for you to do better. So I've also memorized the latest rain spells. So there's 2 targeted AoEs for fire and ice. They do what was 1100 and 800 damage respectively over 7.5 seconds to 4 creatures. That's pretty nice, but I'm currently like I'm accelerated my leveling on this character, and I'm pulling like 20-30 mobs, and I cannot risk a rain spell pulling aggro on him at the moment. So we're gonna hold off on that until we get into the 90s, and then see how that works for how the wizard can add that AoE damage to the group, and see if it's any benefit versus just single targeting stuff down. I still have Harvest memorized, but I don't think I'm going to have it memorized for much longer. It is a mana heal, so it gives us some mana back. And then I have Knowledge Portal, just so I can go buy spells. And then Ether Shield is our current level hit point buff. Just, got to have as many hit points as we can. Does not stack with focus or any of that stuff, so it's very limited. And then I had, I think, Elemental Barrier. I think that's what it was. Yeah, Elemental Barrier memorized, which is our current level, or level 62 resist buff. Now, I'm probably going to drop that spell here pretty soon. You can see here my resists are pretty much getting close to cap already. So 600 is the cap. So as I get better gear, my resists will become capped, and casting resist spells become pointless at that point because they do not increase the cap. But that's the spells I use. Now I currently have Chaos Flame in my multi-bind as my only multi-bind spell. Now if there was slightly different durations on some of these spells, I would add more. But right now it's like instant recast ability right there. Like, so by the time that's up, I can cast any other spells, so it kind of ruins the multi-bind there. Still have Harvest on front just because I need the extra mana. Now I'm casting Mind Crash. This is an AA we got at I believe level 70. This will reduce their hatred by 7,500 points. So it's pretty nice. It's a 36-minute reuse. I'm just using it on cooldown because I wouldn't use it otherwise. Then I think in the last video we put Ward of Destruction on our bar, which just creates a stationary flame ward that will deal 300 damage to all creatures within 60-foot radius. So it's a nice little AoE cleave, if you will. And then Call of Azul, which is our sword, our pet summon sword. So this will summon 2 swords. I think I can actually cast it this time. You can see here, if I cast it, drop that. You can see the little flaming swords and get those, right? Now, at level 70, we also picked up Companions and Discipline, which allows us to use the Pet Swarm ability. So right here, Pet Swarm. Now, I think we can get rid of Pet Attack because we're never going to have a pet that lets us attack. That's the only thing like that. So we can easily just get rid of that in our macro right now, and that'll be perfect. So that will work. Q Swarm and Swarm, so you have access to those now at level 70. And then finally, I have Harvest of Druzzle, which is just another harvest spell, which I'm probably going to use this one as the primary one and drop the other one from the spell bar, probably at 75. I think that's probably going to be when I change up some spells. I think I've been looking ahead at some of the spells, and it looks like there's some things that might change how I'm doing things, but I'm not 100% sure right now until I'm actually able to do some of it. And this is the first time I've played a wizard, so it's at least to this level, right? To 70 plus is where it's, getting kind of interesting. Now, other than that, everything's the same. My assist button is still X target 19, which is whatever Hobbs is targeting. you know, Pet Swarm, mod rods, and all that jazz. And then we did pick up silent casting. So at this point, we have like 3, you know, burn kind of abilities with silent casting, frenzied devastation, and mana burn. I'm gonna probably set up some burn buttons sooner or later. I just haven't done it yet because I don't feel like I'm gonna ever need them until 90 plus. My group is doing really well, so it's hard to even burn, right? It's just like things are just melting. It's insane. But that is kind of how it works right now. I can't imagine, you know, there's going to be changes, obviously, as we get more nukes that have more variety to them and stuff like that. Most classes from 1 to, let's say, 75 are one way, and then 75 to like 100 or one way, and then another way all the way to 125. So there's some nuance to a lot of this that will change, but we'll see how that goes long term. But for the most part, I spam one of these short duration, or you know, short cast time buffs, our nukes, and that's it. Right now, Chaos Flame is the one I'm doing because it just does a little bit more damage. Now it's actually less mana if you look at that, right? It's 162 mana. So it is superior when it comes to even the ratio and stuff like that, but its variance in damage is potentially interesting there. You can see here, I actually landed it on the level 70 combat dummy, I guess. I didn't, or level 90 combat dummy. So you can see here, I'm getting 1800 damage with this spell now versus a level 90. 1100. So it's very varied, and it's you know, the crits for 3800. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out as we go to 75. One thing I'd note, if you want to see gameplay of this character, you're gonna have to wait until the Hobbs and Friends gets this guy to 90, and then he'll join somewhere after the grounds into their series. And I'm going to swap between the persona on him, between the persona and the mage, and that back and forth, just to have some variety there, to kind of see what the difference is as they level, so I can kind of keep them going. But that's how I play my level 70 mage. I feel like this class is phenomenal and pretty fun. I like the big nukes, right? But if since the mobs are dying so fast, it's hard to use them. But when the mobs were not dying so fast, it's like hitting a mob with Ice Comet was just so awesome, right? And so, you know, hitting a mob for almost 6,000 with that, what is it called? Ether Flame. I mean, that's just crazy. Absolutely crazy, that much damage. That's like half or a third of the mob's life. And a single nuke and you crit that, you're crazy. So there's some pretty interesting things that we can do, but I play in a group, so I think in the first or second video I showed how to do some quad kiting and stuff like that. When we get to 125, I will show solo of this character, and I'll do like a wizard gameplay, and I'm gonna try to do that with all the characters at 125, just to kind of show how they play at 125 by themselves in a group and stuff like that. So look forward to that. But thank you very much for watching, and please have a fantastic day.